How's it going? We are here to discuss Mimi, Kriti Sanon's beautiful film. Since Operation Sindoor is over, we can talk about Bollywood again. Please don't come for us. The industry is literally the last cake of piece of liberalism cake we have in Asia. Long live democracy. Long live His Holiness the Dalai Lama. You know what got me onto this film? Like, I've watched it, but I didn't really want to talk about it. I didn't even like have the guts to finish it to see like what happens in the end because I was just so invested in the plot. I was going to have like a breakdown if it didn't end up where I wanted it to end up. So, by the way, I'm wearing this Ferran, I think it's called, because it is suitable, I think, up to 4 months of being anyone's baby mom. Not that I am, but yeah, here's an advertisement like, you can wear this up till 4 months. Okay, Mimi is the name of the film made by our heroine, Kriti Sanon. She was raised in a middle class Delhi family. Her dad is also really hot, which made her and her sister very hot. And thanks to her mom for loving her and not hating herself so she could make Mimi, which is about a Rajasthani dance girl and her traditional family and how they become introduced to the surrogacy scene. So she's living her best life as a super cute and like active dancer. And one day, a pundit played by our favorite Bollywood actor, he's like your favorite uncle. He was also in the Amazon show Mirzapur, and he's like really bad. He's like really bad in there, like a gangsta. Um, oh, and here's the Delhi Metro card. Shout out Delhi. So in Mirzapur, our favorite uncle is a very bad guy, but then in this film, Mimi, he is playing like this really sweet, kind-hearted tour guide who decides to introduce Mimi, our heroine, to two Americans who happen to be married and looking for someone who will have their child because unfortunately they cannot give birth themselves. So they travel all the way to India to find a surrogate mother for their future child. And I think this was legal up till 2010s, and then it got banned. And it could still be happening amongst Indians, I'm not sure, but if you guys know, you can leave a comment down below. So this film traces like this blonde girl and her husband and how they try multiple times with Kriti Sanon's character Mimi, and finally there's like a really emotional point where they visit her from America, and the doctors tell them that, oh, your kid might have Down syndrome. And I'm not sure like what is Down syndrome. It's kind of a defect, I guess. And immediately they want to cancel it. They want to tell Mimi, the beautiful Rajasthani dance girl, that sorry, we don't want this baby anymore. And then Mimi was devastated because like she gave up her career. She was hiding from her family and she was pretending to be like a burqa lady. She was living in a Muslim neighborhood. She had a new name. I think it was Chand. By the way, today's Chand is in Swati Nakshatra. Maybe Kriti Sanon has a Swati placement, but yeah. Her new Muslim name was Chand. And then she was like lying about her pregnancy. She was saying, oh yeah, this is like someone else's kid, but we can't tell them because like other people might come after us. And her friend was also covering for her because her friend was dating a notable man from the neighborhood, so then they could live in this like accommodation without the neighbors like saying anything. So they start living that double life, and then the guy from Mirzapur also has to like pretend that he is a very devout person who prays every time the notable person from the neighborhood asks him to go pray with them. So they put in all this effort, and the Americans are just like, we don't want this baby anymore because it has a birth defect. And then Mimi was just so upset because she could not believe that her body would have to go through that just because, like, they didn't want it. And then they actually checked out of the hotel. And in Rajasthan, I think a lot of these kind of weird love stories happen. So then love children just get, left there sometimes. And there was this really emotional scene where she was just knocking at every taxi that had like a foreigner or like non-Indian person sitting there, and like trying to like get their attention to like see if they were the American couple like who commissioned this project. And she ends up like not successful in finding them, and she just breaks down on the street on the roads of Rajasthan. I think it's Jaipur. I think they shot that scene in Jaipur, the Pink City. And she was just like so broken because she could not believe that like her life would not be worth as much as like these people's respect, right? It's like about the izzat. Like, why could you just not stay until these 9 months were over, and then you could decide how serious the Down syndrome was? I feel like that was the crucial turning point of the film, where the audiences were just like, oh my gosh, these American assholes. And then she decides to keep it. She decides to keep the baby despite like Americans pulling the funding, pulling the moral support midway. She gives birth, and amazingly, the baby actually turns out fine. And I think his name was like Jacob. She named the baby, or the child actor's name could have been Jacob. And she builds a really nice bond with the kid, and the guy who acted as the middleman was also like very like responsible in keeping in touch and like trying to see if he could help her any time of the week. And it was also an awkward moment where her parents actually thought that he was the one who knocked her up, but actually he didn't. And his actual wife had to like storm into Mimi's house and like demand like an explanation. And he actually even had to show his ID card because people weren't sure, like, what is your religion? Like, Mimi is a Hindu. Why can you not keep out of our business? Anyways, the kid turns out fine, and everyone's relieved, including Mimi's parents. So she still lived with her parents throughout, like, this trial. Her parents are also really hurt by the fact that the Americans pulled out. And and the wife also speaks Hindi, which added like insult to injury. Like, the culture, how conservative people can be, yet you still like put your own selfish desires of having like the perfect surrogate baby over like Mimi's well-being. So like that was also part of like the struggle. Like, how can you not understand the backlash Mimi will face because you guys couldn't like keep your promise? Anyways, Mimi gives birth, raises a child gets to like 4 years old, and then the American couple show up and they try to ask her to give the baby to them, and they brought toys. That was like, oh my gosh, it really touched something inside me deep down. And Mimi tried to stand up to them, and the guy from Mirzapur also tries to stand up to them, and they have this whole like moral tug of war that's reminiscent of Solomon, like cut the baby in half or not. I don't know what happens, but you guys can let me know. Thanks for watching. There's one comment. Mark says hi. Hi, Mark. Mimi.